What up? What up, y'all? Welcome to Night and Day Metaphysics. So y'all know recently Diddy spoke out apologizing to Cassie after that video of him abusing her was leaked by CNN. So what I want to do is get into Diddy response before we get into Mr. TD Jakes, who also did a sermon on domestic violence. So happened to do that after the Diddy thing came out with the tape came out. So that I see that's mighty strange that he did a domestic violence, a Sunday service after the Diddy situation came out. So let's go ahead and get into Diddy's apology to Cassie, and then we'll go ahead and get into TD Jakes' sermon, clip from his sermon about domestic violence. All right.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, going to rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
All right, so that's Diddy apology. So let me go ahead and pull up the Cassie thing. So we can go ahead and recap that real quick. Make sure y'all hit that like button as well on this channel.
Sean Diddy Combs. The video, captured on multiple cameras, shows Combs assaulting his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hallway at a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016. A lawsuit filed by Ventura in November last year and settled the next day referenced actions that seem to match those seen in this video. There is no audio. According to the complaint, Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye, which, according to the lawsuit, prompted Ventura to try and leave the hotel room. The surveillance video obtained by CNN begins as she enters the hallway. The complaint says as she exited, Mr. Combs awoke and began screaming at Miss Ventura. He followed her into the hallway of the hotel while yelling at her. The complaint goes on to say he grabbed her and then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her.
That was CNN report on leaking the Diddy abuse towards Cassie. All right, so let's go ahead and get into TD Jakes. So TD Jakes recently did a sermon this Sunday, today, about domestic violence, right after the Diddy situation came out. So let's go ahead and get into TD Jakes speaking on this.
But I got a request that came in over social media that I happened just to see as I was coming to church. And the woman said to me, would you please pray for women who are living in danger in their own house? And there was something about the way she said it, and I know she's watching right now. There was something about the way she said it. It was a cry for help. And I realized something when I read what she said. As a father and as a husband and as a son and a mama's boy at that, when I saw the images that have been floating all over the news all week, it became difficult to watch. The atrocious, degrading, but I got demeaning, debauchery. I know who it was, but I saw my daughters. As a man, I saw my daughters, and it made me angry. It made me angry And I thought, if it affected me like that as a man, how much more is that image a trigger for women who have been through that, who are currently going through that, who are in the middle of that, who feel trapped in situations where you are being physically and emotionally and verbally abused. And it is possible to feel trapped and have a key to the door and still feel trapped in a situation you can't get out of. And it has, domestic violence has no particular color, age, or face. It can be sitting beside you today. You can be churched, you can be unchurched, you can be educated, you can be rich, you can be poor. But let me tell you something before we pray. And it's not always the man. Let me tell you a couple of things before we pray, both for the victims and the perpetrator. There's something you need to understand. If you got a rage you can't control, if you have an emotional problem, a mental health issue where you're bipolar, and your kids get scared when they hear your car coming home, you got to get some help, dude. You got to get some help. You got to come out of denial and get some help. If you're into substance abuse and it turns you into a weapon, you got to get some help. It's nice to pray, and we're going to pray in a moment, but let me beside you to tell you something. I grew up as a young pastor. We were taught as young pastors, it was our job to keep people together no matter what. That's what we were taught. So whenever people came to us as pastors, I'm in my early 20s or so, and they wanted counseling, I always counsel them, God can work it out and God can fix it and God can do that. And he can do anything, but he may have to do it at a distance. He may have to do it at a distance. If you are abusive and angry and hard to live with and bombastic and tenacious till people can't be comfortable in their own bed, you gotta do something about that. If you're a victim or have been a victim and those images triggered you and you're stressed, it triggered me as a father. I knew that wasn't my daughter's laying there, but it seemed like it was. I got mad. I'll tell you something, I grew up like it was me. Men, we gotta care. Men, we've got to care. And let me tell you something, it doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't always show itself. Whether it is a woman being abused, and there are far more women being abused than men, or even in the cases where men are being abused, you don't work all week to come home to a house you can't live in. And I want to take a moment, just a moment, it's not on the program. I'm glad what you said about not being on the program, it's not scheduled, but I want you to join hands. There are some people, even in this room, watching online right now, who are in miserable situations. I'm not talking about having an argument over who bought lunch and who didn't buy lunch. I'm not talking about simple stuff that goes on in everybody's marriage. In everybody's marriage, you don't get along all the time. But when you're scared to come in your own house, when your eyes are black and your ribs are crushed, when somebody throws gasoline on you and sets you afire, when somebody kicks you and stomps you and beats you, nobody deserves to be treated like that. And yet, it's in the room. It's under siege. Become the whipping post for frustrated people that they're living with.
All right, so that's TD Jake's response to the Diddy situation. So I see a lot of people's pretty conflicted with TD Jakes, because the things have come out implementing him into the Diddy situation, but you can't totally say that TD Jakes knew what Diddy was doing as far as his domestic disputes or whatever, because he wasn't in the room. You know what I mean? So nobody actually knew abusing that Cassie until it actually came out, until Cassie put the paperwork out, and then this video came out. You know what I mean? So you had some people trying to doubt Cassie that she was lying, but now that since the video came out, now is people speaking out like, whoa, she was telling the truth. You know what I mean? So So you got some people that was kind of conflicted by TD Jakes mentioning this because his affiliation with Diddy, but that don't necessarily mean that man was down with him abusing Cassie. Just because they try to implement him into the Diddy freak offs or whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about this. It is mighty funny that he took this opportunity though to talk about this domestic dispute while this thing came out about Diddy. Seemed like a quick little PR move, real quick, just to get the viewers in for the sermon. But I ain't mad at that. You know what I mean? He did this sermon right after the allegations with Diddy came out, and then Diddy doing the whole apology thing. You know what I mean? So make sure y'all like and subscribe to this channel. This your boy JR Curry. I'm about to here. Peace.